Good morning, and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is March 8th, Sunday, March 8th, and we're here back to my world. It's been a few days. Like I said, work's been just a little busy, all that jazz that nobody wants to hear about, but essentially been doing a bunch of little things each day, not really enough to comment on, but yesterday night I did finally get a ton done and made some really good progress, but by the time I was done with that, wanted to go to sleep, and I figured I would just be better off talking about it fresh in the morning, since it was kind of like instead of really a daily update, this is more like the culmination of the week update. But anyways, so last night did actually craft and form the mothership. I had the navigation console crafted. I, however, did not have these remaining items. Basically, the way it works is you take the shuttle, which I also had crafted at the end of the last video, but you take this up into the atmosphere. You have all of these items in your inventory. Click on create mothership, and boom, it forms. And it's basically just like a fake dimension up there that shows the overworld, and it's kind of like a little square form, like you've shot off in a rocket. And then from there, you have to build these guys onto here, the rocket base and the rocket engine jet, which built that. I also did the configuration terminal, as well as this guy, the artificial gravity generator, though I didn't end up using that, so I don't know if it was a good choice. Also, that's crazy. I didn't realize there was 4 fuel generators sitting here as a reward. That's bonkers. But anyway, one of these has a reward of maybe it's even this one. Oh yeah, it is this one, because I actually chose it. So I basically chose the dark matter shard specifically so that I could create this artificial generator, because you can't make these yet. However, I didn't even end up using it. It's fine. So if that dark matter shard was supposed to be better used somewhere else, that one's my bad. Also, you can see my textures are glitching out. Oh, there goes a rocket. But anyways, so yeah, I did that, and then once I got that formed, I did fly off to both basically the raw system, and then set up 2 miners. I set one up on Seth, because that's where we get the was it Tem my goodness, drawing a blank. We go over to the UEV tab. I need 10 gram or 10 gam ore. So I need that, which we could actually go. Let me go grab that real quick. It should just be chilling. I believe it comes into this one. So you see, we got dilithium there. 10 gam. Nope. Nope. Here, you know what? Even easier than that. We'll just do. Hold on a second. We're gonna go. We go overly aggressive to finish this quest out. We're gonna remove these. Insertion. 10 gam. And then I need to put these right back, because that thing uses so much ore. Or did I not have speed boosters on the second one? No wonder this thing was going so slow. Oh, I did. Okay. Yeah, I had to put. I did a Void Miner 3 on Seth, basically because, as far as I can tell, this guy is like the main base of all our components going forward. This guy, like if we were to look at here, we need longitude 10 gram rods, 10 gam, 10. I'll have to figure out how to say that properly, because I'll probably have to say it many times over the next few videos. Yeah, we can actually finally move on. So I did Seth, and then I also did Nepper, just because on there we needed dilithium, which I did, and already was able to craft the dilithium ones, which means we can finally come over here and finish the tier 6 water properly, where should be, if we go to grade 6 water, I believe it's literally just going to be grade 6 water. It goes starts here, starts with orundum and comes around to dilithium. So it should just be, whoop. And then now we should have basically 100% success rate for grade 6 water. So that's that loop is finally closed. But yeah, to get to the mothership, realistically, if work hadn't been busy, which again, not complaining, it's been dead for months, it really wouldn't have taken that long. There were just a few things I needed to ultimately take care of to get it set up. One of them was in the items that you need for crafting the mothership, which if we were to go back over and look at space goals, space race, right here. This thing in particular is what I'm referring to, the ultra high temperature resistant mesh. And then if we go dig into a little bit specifically here, this tantalum hafnide carbide nanofibers, this one's just neutronium nanofibers. There was no issue in crafting this stuff. You basically just macerate neutronium dust and then you get nanofibers and you just run it through the thing. But here, we needed to set up this stuff, which required just a little bit, not like anything crazy, but we set up this little line. The way you actually get this though is it's kind of weird. You get it through, here we go. You need to run the mixed dust through a plasma arc furnace, and then you've got it. So basically what we got going on over here, one of these is making tantalum carbide, one of these is making hafnium carbide, and then this one also is mixing the dust, and then ultimately it's coming over here. And this is only set up because I misunderstood what was happening earlier, and I just haven't tore it down because it doesn't hurt anything. And then I've started doing this more. I wasn't utilizing this very much in the playthrough. One, I didn't realize till a few weeks ago it even existed, but using color-coded buses. If you're ever unsure about the order of priorities, you basically use the color stocking buses to indicate priority of recipes, and then they're literally just in the order of the colors in the infinite spray can. And then I normally use black and white just to make it easier, but I originally also misread this recipe over here that's in the LCR, so I had a third stocking input bus over here, but neither here nor there. So I got that set up so we can craft these things. The other thing that needed to be crafted for the mothership is the rocket bases and the rocket jet engine. I did ultimately just go with these guys because I had spent so long just with the way the week worked out. I actually planned on crafting these guys because I wanted to go straight from Motherworld to Raw. But yeah, it would have just wasted more time. I will eventually craft these just to complete the quest. But these things are in themselves pretty expensive. If you look, we need it's this right here, the 64 heavy duty rocket engine tier 4s. The meshes and everything else aren't really that big of a deal. I mean, 16 pumps is technically a little expensive, but ultimately it's mainly this thing. And then same for the rocket bases. Nothing too crazy, but you can see the nanite clusters in there. And again, just a little expensive, but that was going to take forever because as you can imagine, 64 engine bases require 5 heavy duty require all this. So I did have to take a little time to upgrade my ingot production. So if we hop down where all my advanced assembly lines are, I kind of just went easy mode and set down 4 separate advanced assembly lines. I could not go higher than this. So this is tier 4, 5, 6, 7. I could not do tier 8 and light just because I don't have access to UEV energy hatches, and those are technically UEV energy recipes, and you can't overclock with the advanced assembly lines. I did try throwing them all on one just to see if it would work with the stocking input buses down here, but if you put anything in the second slot, it just won't craft that recipe. I will say I'm not going to leave all four of these set up like this. Like I didn't mind setting them up because eventually I was going to throw something else in these like quote unquote slots along here. However, I think for heavy ingots, just because it does not seem like we'll use very many of them in the future. Like there will be times where we'll use a lot, but not enough to have dedicated setups like this. So I will probably take the time to learn how to do like a generic advanced assembly line because I haven't bothered with that. I've just used advanced assembly lines as dedicated items just to clean up space and make room for everything else. Because I do need to set up the UEV components down here before I start setting up the component assembly lines. But that was just something to help with speed. Then the other thing to help with speed, and I'm so happy I finally did it. I was being slow about it, but it really needed to be done, is my ingot production was driving me absolutely nuts. Everything was taking forever. However, now we got this guy, and you're saying, hey, you had this before. Well, not like this, I didn't. So this thing is here still, just because I think it's kind of cool to like utilize the environment as it was and build more. But this mega vacuum freezer is definitely no longer in use. As you can see, I've got a laser input hatch coming from the bottom. Basically, what I set up was down here, I threw down 2 NAC fuel things. These are just running off the Mark II fuel that I don't use anymore for the main base. And then they're both feeding directly up into a supercapacitor just to serve as a buffer. I don't want to have to worry about like running out of energy or anything. And then this guy's going directly up above into a 256 amp UV energy hatch. I did set up UHV originally, but I miscalculated, and I would have to use Mark III fuel down there to make that work, which we will do eventually, but not quite yet. I wasn't quite comfortable doing that. And my God, this is so much faster. Like, for example, it doesn't hurt anything right now because I'm not really crafting, let's go neutronium. And I do have this set to white, so if I put something in here on passive and forget about it, it won't like clog up the system. If we put neutronium in here, we're now getting 256 every 150 seconds. I think I was at 144 for 4 over in the other place. So like this just serves as a perfect example of how much faster this is. And neutronium was the main thing holding up. Right now, like I said, if I leave this just running passively over here, I didn't yesterday because I was crafting a bunch of stuff, but just in general, like at worst case, I wait 150 seconds for the recipe I actually need done to trigger off, and then it'll go back to passive making this. But we'll see. I might just leave neutronium on passive over there and call it good enough. But for the moment, I'm not crafting anything, so I'm actually going to just leave that going for the moment. And then obviously I upgraded the glass to UHV and the coils to draconium. The glass to UHV because I was going to have the UHV energy hatch in there, but it's fine. It won't be too long till I upgrade that further, because when it didn't finish the recipe, but I did fire off neutronium in here, and what's it called, like 75 seconds for 256. Like, oh, this is just so much better. I should have done this first and then everything else. So that was a goof on my part. I might also set up a second one eventually. When I say eventually, I'm more sooner, just to have things like steel and aluminum and all those like ingots that are like incredibly fast, so those aren't getting held up waiting on something over here, because that kind of gets frustrating. That was my original complaint with using this thing, but it is so much faster. I love it. And then I will have to do some upgrading on my freezers. It was keeping up still, but I just want to make sure that doesn't turn into an issue. And then the last thing I did, like the thing that was actually kind of more sprinkled throughout the week, because all of this stuff was mostly kind of condensed to yesterday, is I spent a little bit of time upgrading my Nequata stuff. So the first thing was I kept running out of enriched Nequata, So I did set up this LCR. This thing is specifically making enriched aquata, and I don't know why it's not making right now. Out of fluid space. Where's my scanner? What fluid? No catching fluids. It's lying to me. I guess it's just not going fast enough. Maybe? Yeah, here we go. Oh. Yeah, it's just a recipe that runs too fast, so it looks like it's turned off. That is kind of... If I want to improve the speed, I could add an extra output bus. I think I'm a little short on channels over here. But so I did that for specifically enriched aquata, which has gotten my actual fuel production back off the ground. As you can see, I'm all good over here. This thing should be running. What are we waiting on? Oh, we're waiting on dense uranium, which should all be firing off over here. So yeah, good over there. So if we look at my aquata fuel, I don't think I have enough 3 fuel to actually show off now, but if we were to hop down into primary, just take my word for it, that's going good. And then because of that, there were some like there was a lot of little stuff I did throughout the week. I'm not just going to sit here and list out everything. Like, for example, I had ran out of sulfuric acid because I had this set up badly, but it is all fixed now. Better set up for output buses, UV hatches, so we're not jamming up. I did set up another extractor out in the desert just to help with things like my oxygen combs because I ran out of oxygen at some point, probably because I fixed sulfuric acid realistically. And then I did set up a second one of these guys to finish out the enriched aquata because this again is just so much faster than what I had down here below. Basically just made it a 64 high one, and it runs at 555 times parallel now. But yeah, for going into the week, I mean, there are a couple main goals for the week will be... So short-term goals, I do basically want to get the components, UEV energy hatches, and then really the actual next main goal will be obviously make the circuits and then figure out what's next because I don't actually know. So I can see for that water is in here, component assembly lines we need to do. There's these Stargate trophies that would be kind of cool to knock out, these weapons and infinity armor. It looks like there's a lot of cool stuff in this book. I would like to get the UEV energy hatch though, kind of like so incredibly short term, these guys, then next up, these guys, then look at whether I want to go water, circuits, or component assembly line first, and kind of go from there. But yeah, appreciate you for watching. I realize it's Sunday and it's kind of been a little more sporadic uploads. Like I said, I should hopefully be back to it this week. There might still be a few days that are iffy if I can't make any progress during the day. But yeah, it should be more than 2 videos this week, I hope. So yeah, anyways, hope everybody's having a good weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.